initiates in the Eastern Cape. That number now stands at 27 fatalities. Well, we are in conversation now with the Secretary General of Contralesa, and that's Mr. Zolani Mkiva. He joins us now on the line. Mr. Mkiva, as we were discussing just this worrying number of initiates dying in the Eastern Cape, just talk to us about how this problem is now very clear, becoming out of control, and that something now drastically needs to be done. Talk to us about what we are not getting right as a country.
Well, let me start off by saying that it is indeed a disaster that we have lost such a huge number of young men. It should be happening. It's unwarranted, it's unbecoming, and totally unacceptable. We really want to convince all those families of young ones. A ritual should not be a killing machine. Instead, it should be an instrument of producing leaders of the future, men of the future, men of the country and the patriots of our country. So, what we are not doing right about this whole question of traditional initiation is the fact that we have failed to formalize the traditional initiation schools. I think what we must do as the leadership of the country is to formalize the whole issue of initiation in the country and designate particular areas and put resources behind that and have people working full-time in that and do away with commercialization, because the informal nature of the initiation school creates a breeding ground for thugs and bogus people to come up with bogus initiation schools so that they can make a penny out of it. So the sooner the Department of Health, Department of Culture, as well as police come together to work and give much needed support to the institution of traditional leadership, from year to year will be found in this same position. So I think the formalization is the key thing. And number two is that the whole initiation exercise should be given a status that is due to it. This is a national ritual. The rite of passage from boyhood to manhood is a national ritual. Therefore, the national government ought to make a statement every time we're going to come to a season and declare the beginning of the initiation season, so that we give the importance and the centrality of this exercise. And then that must be coupled with the much needed resources which must be given to the institution of traditional leadership, so that it is capacitated with human resources. That is the medical practitioners who have gone through the exercise of initiation must then be deployed, because the season does not last more than 3 months in each and every season, the winter and the summer. We can't do this on ad hoc basis. Let's deploy the medical doctors who have gone through that exercise and work with traditional surgeons and traditional nurses, so that we close ranks and we come from all, we deliver initiation season that has no fatalities whatsoever. This is really embarrassing for us.
Let me see if this line holds by asking you this next question, Mr. Mkiva. So, it's a rite of passage, but it is one that is year in, year out, as you've rightfully said, killing young men. So what is the role of families? What is the role of communities, especially as far as these bogus, initiative schools are concerned? Because, they keep cropping up, and I hear you saying we need to deploy some sort of, resources to formalize this sector. But what is the role of the families of these young men who are killed year in, year out, as well as the communities?
My sister, we have set the regulations and protocols of what needs to be done before the boys are enrolled in the initiation school. They are very clear. The centrality of the parent cannot be overemphasized. It is only the parent or the guardian that is designated by that particular family who must take that child in. and having come with all the requisite documents, including a medical certificate that clears the fitness of that boy. And number two, and then there must be a letter from the traditional leader that authorizes that family that this boy is in terms of the age that has been set of 18, particularly in the Eastern Cape. So the parents take in their children, but with bogus initiation schools, it doesn't happen like that. This thing happens behind the back of the parents and the back of the families, because these human traffickers who set up these bogus initiation schools, they trap the boys and they roll them to come to those initiation schools. As long as they come with money, they will not need a letter from the doctor or a letter from the traditional leader. So they bypass the issue of age. So some of them check themselves in. They are underage. So we can't put the blame squarely on parents. But there are isolated cases where parents act out of negligence because they are put under pressure by their own children, and then they don't comply with what needs to be done, and then their children end up in this crisis. So the majority of the 27 initiations were passed on come from the what I would call the bogus initiation school, or the bogus conduct of an initiation school where it does not follow the rules. The most critical thing is the management that must occur in an initiation school, where you deploy resources permanently during that period. Not people who are going to come in once a week or once in 2 weeks to come and monitor what is happening. The situation is very sensitive in an initiation, in a traditional initiation school. We need full-time people who are responsible, who are working as a service, delivering a service on behalf of the nation. And therefore, we need to do away with the commercialization of that subject. Government must come in so that those children who go in there are going there under the tutelage of the state.
Mr. Mkiva, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Really do appreciate it. That was Secretary General for Contralesa, Zolani Mkiva. Let's continue.